Assista agora a mais um lançamento com a qualidade Vídeo 3.
I missed one victory in my career. That 89 I won, and I was taken away. I was prevented to go to the podium. We agreed before starting qualifying that pole position would be on the outside with the officials. Then Balestre gave the order after qualifying to not change, and I was found myself in the wrong side on pole.
Notre guerre fratricide était un peu une guerre presque logique, normale, et qui nous a servi un petit peu à tous les deux, qui était dans le cadre du sport, qui dépassait un peu le cadre du sport de temps en temps, mais qui était en même temps tellement belle, tellement incroyable, que avant qu'on en trouve une comme ça, je crois peut-être qu'on n'en trouvera peut-être plus jamais.
A special hello to our dear friend Alan in France. We all miss you, Alan.
When he joined us, we hoped he'd win the championship, but it was certainly not within the team by any means assumed that he would. It would be very difficult, and we were of Michael's potential in particular. The first three races, good qualifying performances, but in a difficult car, we'd be the first to admit that. And it was obvious, again, reminding myself what Patrick told me, that he had a great head for racing and a very painstaking approach to his car.
Tous les espoirs étaient permis au début, puis un certain nombre de difficultés sur une voiture qui n'était pas celle qu'il espérait, que nous espérions tous, beaucoup plus, certainement avec un très fort potentiel, mais très difficile à mettre en œuvre, pas mis au point, et véritablement il y avait un travail de fond à faire, et je crois que Ayrton avait pris la mesure du travail qu'il y avait à faire, et qui savait ce qu'il y avait à faire.
Wobbly more. Now to be a bit more. Yeah, 3, 4, 5 laps. Any movement on the steering of the car. Little movement, we are on the limit. The car is on the limit. The human being is on the limit. That's what is all about motor racing. That's what is all about Formula One. Athlete means in motor racing or football or tennis or any activity. Always put himself under a lot of stress, a lot of pressure, and leaves behind in life lots of things in favor of his passion. And you train your body to do what you want it to do, not what your body wants to do. So you put your body on the limit in many occasions, and you train your mind for the same thing, to do what you should do as a professional, as an athlete, as a sportsman, and not what your mind wants to do.
Em 84, nós tínhamos aqui um garoto franzino, super dedicado, e onde tudo começou foi exatamente aqui. Ele fazendo aqui 10 voltas com muita dificuldade. E hoje a gente tem um atleta que percorre aqui 40, 50 voltas de uma maneira inaudita. É nesse lugar que ele alongava a parte das pernas, colocando para fazer o alongamento. Enfim, ele se soltava a musculatura para estar mais apto para o trabalho. Aí ele vinha nesse ponto, e nesse ponto aqui, ele iniciava o trabalho. Ele fazia 40, 50 voltas nesse circuito de 400 metros, e me impressionava que muitas vezes, em 40 voltas, ele tinha 33 a 34 com o mesmo tempo no segundo. E eu anotava e não acreditava, porque era simplesmente fantástico o seu ritmo. E cada dia ele tinha que vencer de alguma forma. Era veemente a vida dentro dele. Ele tinha que se bater. Ou era décimo de segundo, que ele diminuía o tempo, ou era a frequência cardíaca que abaixava durante o esforço, ou então a recuperação do esforço que se fazia mais marcante. Ele nunca ultrapassava os seus limites, mas estava sempre como que empurrando constantemente os seus limites. Nessa luta incansável nessa pista, aonde ele mesmo falava que já tinha gastado dezenas e dezenas de solado de tênis.
This pair of tennis shoes have done probably, they are only about over 2 months old. Almost finished. A lot of running. I've been doing 12, 15, 20 kilometers a day. Not only for my profession is important, but also for my health. It's a responsibility I have even if I am on holiday, that I must keep very much under control, because it will make a difference when I go back to the racing car, to the tracks and testing or racing. I'll be in a better shape, I'll drive better, I will perform better. have experienced a lot of pain while I was driving already, many times. I remember the go-kart. I had an accident, a very bad one. Although it looks like I wasn't hurt, I was badly hurt inside, you know, a lot of pain. And I didn't think I could drive the following day when it was the event, the race. And once I sat in the go-kart and they push-start me, I realized that going slow, I had all kinds of pains and I couldn't really drive. But then trying a little hard and driving fast, the pain was somewhere else, I don't know where, but somewhere else, not in my body. Even I had 2 accidents during the race itself, where if I was already hurt, it meant it would be really painful. I was so into it that I didn't feel any pain. I even stand out of the go-kart, push start again, jump in it and continue without feeling any pain. So things that you experience and you learn by doing it, how strong your mind can be and what influence can have on your body.
Nós reservávamos esse local mais longe para fazermos nosso trabalho de meditação e relaxamento. Nós colocávamos ele numa toalha e ali fazíamos trabalho de respiração, diafragmáticas, para ele relaxar, se soltar e entrar em meditação, abaixar a frequência cerebral. E lá é que nós fazíamos o trabalho de mentalização e programação mental, se programando para vencedor.
It's an exercise that implicates the 2 sides of you, the body and mind. Once I realized that there was something special in that, I really focus and try to learn about myself, because it's basically learning about yourself, learning about your own limitations, learning about your strengths, your qualities, and trying to make as a whole a smoother person, you know. And I think from it, then you can get a lot of energy. Even if you go through pain, sometimes you can cope with the pain if you are well prepared, if you are well focused. I have won races with a lot of pain, yet I wasn't driving my best. But because you commit yourself to such a level where there is no compromise, you give everything you have, everything, absolutely everything. And sometimes you find even more, because it requires more if you want still to be ahead, if you want to win. Because of the tension and the responsibility during the whole race and with the difficulties, I couldn't really let much emotion go out. I had to really control and be calculated and cool. Although I had lots of things happening in my mind and body, I had to control all the things because I couldn't make a mistake. I was trying so hard to win such a race for so many years, and I was there with a good opportunity. I had some difficulties with the gearbox in the later stage in the race, the last 30 laps. I lost 4th gear, 20-25 laps. And then I had to jump 4th gear all the time, and for that was requiring much more effort in my arms to control the car. And 7 laps from the end, I lost all the gears. I only had 6. It was the only gear I could get. So it was a tremendous pain by the last few laps. But the desire to win was so big that I kept going. The pain I felt, the stress, the emotions from the people that I could see during the race on the grandstand, the feelings were very intense. Everything was very intense. The pain was harder, but I was just absorbing, and not really reacting to it at that moment. I was just keeping it. And only once I finish, then I kind of let it go in one go, just blow it. Just my shoulders. Vem cá, pai. Vem cá. Só It was a race full of memories, full of excitement, and it's something that you gotta keep in your mind for the rest of your life, for sure. One of my best moments from my whole career is the first victory in Formula 1. Again, Portugal in the rain, bad conditions. I have done the first pole position of my career and in Formula 1, and also the first victory. Together with the first championship, it's one of the best, if not the best moment of my whole career so far.
The build-up to the race itself was not very complicated. We didn't have too many problems. He was quite relaxed, he was at ease, and then we had this terrible weather. And I would have thought that most racing drivers could have been completely fazed by having got to the point where the promise might have been aborted by these terrible conditions. And so my lasting memory is that it did not faze him at all. All he wanted to do was to talk about how to set the car up for the wet, how to get the best out of it in the wet, how to get the engine running so that it was as smooth and responsive as it could be in the wet. And he went out there and he just blew everybody else away. It was one of the motor races of all time, not for closeness of competition, exactly the reverse, but anyone who stood there that day and saw him drive away from a field of some of the most fierce competitors that Formula One has seen cannot fail to have been impressed. And there's a lovely story which also gives an insight into his character. At one moment, he got it wrong. He hadn't made a mistake the whole race, and he got it wrong. And he was off on the grass, and the car came sort of sideways, and then it squirted back to the tarmac, and with a flick of the steering wheel, it was straight and off down the road. And Jenks went up to him afterwards, and he said, "My God," he said, "that was unbelievable car control. That was really special." And Ayrton said, "Don't you believe it? I just lost it. How it came back, I don't know." And I thought that if nothing else, that demonstrated the honesty of the guy, and I think that characterized all his career.
Ele foi considerado o rei da chuva, mas poucas pessoas sabem que para ele ter conseguido isso, se tornar tão bom na chuva, além do talento e da capacidade que ele tinha, esse manejo que ele tinha sobre a relação tempo e espaço, ele teve que se esforçar, ele teve que treinar muito para conseguir transformar esse talento numa coisa que ele tinha domínio.
I never forget my first race in the wet with go-kart was a disaster. Just complete joke. I couldn't do any good. And people were going here, going there, passing me, overtaking me, and I couldn't do anything about it. And in the dry I was pretty good. So then on that day I learned that I knew nothing about running the wet.
E ele ficou muito bravo com isso, ele ficou louco da vida que ele tinha perdido a corrida por causa da chuva. E o que aconteceu foi que cada vez que chovia, cada vez que começava a pingar, ele pegava o kart e ficava treinando até escurecer, até não ter mais luz. E ele treinava debaixo da chuva, ele chegava molhado em casa, até que ele conseguiu manejar o carro na chuva.
Being wet, it's always a tremendous risk to lose the car control or somebody lose the car control and you get involved into an accident. But better if you feel in control of what you're doing and in command of the situation, so you dictate the moves and you make things happen instead of waiting for other people making errors or waiting for other people to making moves. I rather decide the strategy myself if I can and establish my own pace in the race.
When we have the Ford engine, and he still won 5 races against cars that had more power and they were more competitive than us. I think that was one of the best years of his life, even if he didn't was world champion, because he really showed the world what he can do. The one that comes to mind to me immediately, without doubt, would be Donington. I think on those first 2 laps, he won the race then and sacked the opposition in a form that they would everybody destroyed. There was no racing anymore. No, that was fantastic.
have to be very sharp all the time to understand the situations as they present to you and not be hesitating. And I was sharp at that occasion, in particular that occasion, and I took all the decisions like that in the right way, with the precise measure, and everything came together. And that was from the green light, basically. I don't know how many times we stopped for tires. I think it's surely the record in any race of pit stops. Driving with slicks in damp and really slippery conditions was tremendous effort, because you just don't get the feeling from the car, and you have to commit yourself to certain corners, and you just can be off. So I had to gamble on this. It paid off, and of course I'm over the moon. Thank you to everyone, and thank you. For you to get to that situation, you have to be well aware that hundreds of people and sometimes thousands of people have contributed. And that is a heavy situation, heavy position to be, a lot of weight on your shoulders. But on the other hand, if you look on the positive side, it's such a pleasant position to be, because it means you're doing it right, you're doing it in a special manner. That's why they offer you all of that. When I win a race, or when I am on pole and establish a quick lap, I try to pass to them the feelings that I'm going through, in order that they can feel part of it. They are part of it, and they must feel part of it. Because the hours that the mechanics, engineers put behind to prepare a racing machine to us, many times going through the night, no holidays through 12 months a year, can only be motivated, can only be justified if they get the thrill, or some of the thrill that I get. The only way I can see is by sharing with them those feelings.
Ayrton foi um herói, foi um ídolo, foi uma pessoa que levantou a autoestima do Brasil. Eu acho que ele respondia a um fluido, a uma energia que partia do país para ele. Era o povo brasileiro, não é nem o Brasil, não é o governante, era esse povo brasileiro que ele respondia com aquela bandeira. E que foi muito importante até para o Brasil, porque esse homem faz aquilo que o brasileiro gosta muito de dizer: o mundo se curva ante o Brasil. É um clichê do Brasil, é um lugar comum que a gente usa. E realmente o mundo se curvava diante do Ayrton Senna, quer dizer, ele era um homem imbatível, ele era um homem calculista, ele era um homem determinado, ele era um homem ambicioso e ele era principalmente um homem vitorioso. Ou seja, ele era tudo aquilo que a gente queria ser. Ele devolveu essa estima, ele devolveu esse orgulho brasileiro e ele se tornou esse ídolo.
Feliz Natal, Feliz Ano Novo, Feliz 90.
Any sportsman, anybody that is successful, attract people all the time. It's natural that people follow you and like you. You know, the television is showing us all over the world, and that alone makes you popular. Hey, I like your head.
No Japão, na entrada do autódromo, ficava uma multidão de jovens E era tanta gente que a polícia formava um caminho naquela multidão que era justamente para as pessoas poderem passar. Mas aquela multidão era tão grande que aquele canal, aquele caminho que se formava com a polícia, ia estreitando, e ele, quando estava no meio daquele canal, a coisa ficava tão estreita e todo mundo querendo tocá-lo, que era uma coisa assim impressionante de ver. Eu ficava curtindo aquele momento de ver aquela multidão, e ele feliz de poder estar ali no meio, de poder ver, dividir aquele sentimento com os japoneses. Então é uma coisa que vai ficar na minha memória para o resto da minha vida. É um sentimento de você poder presenciar aquela troca, não é, intensa de carinho.
No, don't lose them. No. Keep arms, keep arms, keep arms, keep arms. Keep arms.
Sometimes you want just to be yourself and to be on your own, to concentrate on something, to do something, and the fact that you have all the time this tendency of people following you is like you here, and people are all the time around you, and they get near to you, which is fine. Sometimes they even hit you. You know, they really, literally, sometimes hit you. They go against you, and you feel like an invasion, and you cannot move around. You simply cannot turn around. Sometimes you cannot look around because you are just surrounded, and that is not so good sometimes. Success brings that. If you're not successful, you wouldn't have that. So you wouldn't be doing good. You wouldn't be doing right. That's why I say it's part of it. And you have to learn how to cope with these situations. Brazil has lots of problems, lots of difficulties, but I try to look the good things that Brazil also has got, and this is one of the good things. You know, it's a paradise. It's a place where you can have peace, you can be close to the nature, you can enjoy life when you have holiday time. You have a beautiful sea, you have beautiful vegetation, climate, sun, very good things which you can just let it happen and enjoy life. And it's a place where I recharge my batteries to go back to the racing car. Once you experience that, it's difficult to live without it. You kind of need it. It's a way of finding your equilibrium. So whenever it's possible to be away from big cities, I like to be close to the nature, be in the seaside or in the countryside. There were originally two lakes. This one was the higher one, and we decided to join them. And we made one big lake which is over 1 kilometer long. The water is a natural water, it's spring water, there is no outside water, it's completely clean. And we also are planning to put some fish here to then be able to also to fish a little bit and have a fresh fish. We decided to build those houses for the workers, and so we have built so far about 10 houses, and the people who then work for us can have a good way of life, and also It's nice to see new things done properly with the right shape, right design, right style. We are also making the main house for us. We've been working here for a year and a half already, and I believe we have another 2 years to go. Everything is facing the two lakes, so all the time our view will be the two lakes. We have a tennis court right in front, the swimming pool, we have the boathouse there on the left, and we try to preserve the trees that were here from the beginning, to have the atmosphere, the environment as untouchable as possible. So it's gonna be nice when it's finished.